about Mitch Creek. Just to clarify, he's been on the active roster. You don't actually have to be there as long as you're taking up the spot on the active roster, but you have to play 3 games, like actually touch the floor in order to qualify. So everybody's wondering, will he be here, for that game on Sunday? For Xavier, it doesn't matter at this point because he's played the 3 games. He just has to be on the active roster. So rest assured, everybody, things are going to be good. But what do you say, Tay? Do you think we bring him in?
I think so. I think the 3-time league MVP and 2-time champion is worth bringing in. So yeah, why not?
All right, let's bring him in. All right, Xavier Moon, looking fresh to death in the process, getting the haircut. How you doing, Xavier? Thanks for joining the show today.
Man, I'm good. Like you said, I'm trying to get cleaned up for this game tomorrow.
Oh man, that's it's a big one. It's the last game of the season. Let's start with that. You've now played a couple of games at home. What's the experience been like on the floor?
Man, it's been crazy. I thought the experience was wild as a spectator, but it's even crazier as a player. It's been fun. Looking forward to the last home game of the regular season tomorrow, going into the playoffs.
Xavier, I thought you were getting cleaned up for us for the show. I thought that's the real reason why you're in the barber chair right now.
Hey, that's part of the reason, but also for the last home game tomorrow too.
Fair enough. Well, other than a haircut, is there something else that you kind of like to do, whether it's the night before the game or the day of the game, to really just kind of get your mind right and feeling good heading into tip-off?
I mean, I got my pregame routines. I gotta get some good food. Got to take a nap. Got to take my bath before the game. So I got a couple things that I do before.
What's the pregame meal? Sorry, Joey. I gotta know. I gotta know. What's the good food? What's the pregame meal?
It depends on what I'm feeling. Most of the time it's pasta though, but sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling.
What kind of pasta?
Alfredo, chicken Alfredo, maybe shrimp Alfredo, salmon Alfredo if I can find it.
Okay, now I know a lot of the pro basketball players, because social media has become part of the plan, right? And part of the brand and everything else. Do you cook it by yourself, or do you have places that you go? Do you prefer home cooked meals, or are you the kind of guy that says, I want to go and just have it made for me? And do you have a spot?
I mean, I prefer home cooked, but if I can't get home cooked, then of course I'll go buy it. And Olive Garden is my spot here, obviously, because they got pretty good pasta there.
And you guys are right. You're near Earl's too. Do you go there quite a bit? Are you a food guy there? Or is that just more your chill spot?
That's usually like post game. So we usually go to Earl's post game, and everything else is like midday.
So Xavier, how would you even put this summer into words? Obviously, excuse me, when you signed with the Sea Bears, I'd imagine you thought you'd be playing a full season or at least half a season and whatever. So just how do you kind of put this summer into words? And obviously it's kind of tested your patience, but obviously, now it's kind of worked out in the end, thankfully.
Definitely tested the patience. But it's been a great summer so far. Obviously, I've played the last 3 games. Got 2 games left before the playoffs start. But I have no complaints being on the court. Being a fan, being a spectator, like I said earlier, I have no complaints going into these last 2 games.
How difficult is it to keep focused, though, in those situations? I know you and I have talked about this a lot, but for people that are just tuning in for the first time, I mean, to go through this process, you had mentioned that this is something you kind of dealt with before, but not to this extent. What is the biggest challenge when you're going through something where you have no control over it and you're basically just waiting?
Staying ready. I think that's the hardest part. Like not knowing if you're going to be able to play, not knowing when that'll come, and obviously like it came at the very last minute. So, I mean, I had pretty much made my mind up that it could go either way at that point. But once I got the clearance, it's like, okay, now instead of having to get ready, I was already ready. I had already been in practice. I had already been working out, playing. So at that point, it was just implement myself into the offense, defense, like trying to get my rhythm back and all that. I feel like I've done that the last couple games.
Was there ever a moment, Xavier, where you kind of felt like, oh shoot, like maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe I'm not going to be able to play for Winnipeg this summer?
I mean, going into that Friday, before that Friday morning, like I didn't know, and I got the message that Friday morning, and then it was just like a sigh of relief, like a weight off my shoulders, because I knew like I had to play that game on Sunday. So for me, it was like it was really coming down to the wire, and that's when I really started to feel it when I went to bed that Thursday. But waking up that Friday morning, seeing that message, man, it was just like a sigh of relief.
The this season though too. I mean, so let's start with the debut, because last time you were on our show was the post game, and that was like the last game before you were on the roster. That first game is storybook, right? You mean you went off offensively in the first half, and then the second half, Teddy kind of took the scoring wheel, so to speak, and your assists went through the roof. I think you had like more than 10 in the second half that game, but you have a double-double. Teddy has a double-double with 54 points. You've been in this league for a number of years before the break in between. It's never been done in 8 years. No one's scored 50 points, and Teddy does it. Everything was sky high. Fans were, went from like here to here, right, with the expectations, and not just in Winnipeg. I talked to a lot of people across the league that were ready to say, hey, man, it's going to be Scarborough and Winnipeg for sure. But then you drop 2 games, that one against Vancouver being a crucial one, and then, the one against Brampton on national TV. How have you navigated this? Because, there is a possibility that it doesn't work out as planned, right? Like it's hard to win every game. What's the conversation's been like? How have you guys been handling this, considering it was at home particularly?
I mean, I have to remind myself that it was only my 3rd game. Like the last game was only my 3rd game. So obviously it's going to take a little bit of time. Obviously time is not on our side. So we're just trying to figure it out game by game. And like you said, obviously we're not going to win every game, but trying to put our best efforts on the court every night. And moving forward, I think we'll be doing that. We had a much better second half last game. Some unfortunate calls, but it is what it is. And then just moving forward, man, just trying to make sure we're on the same page with each other, with Mike, with the coaching staff. And then just make sure we're playing our best basketball going into next Thursday.
It's only been a couple of games, obviously, Xavier, but how do you feel you and Teddy complement each other so far?
I mean, everybody gonna have their own opinion of what they think would happen or how they think it's going, but I feel like we complement each other well. Like obviously he puts the ball in the hole. I can do the same thing, but my game is a lot different than his. And for me, it's just making sure everybody is eating, everybody touching the rock. And then obviously get my shots up and get to my spots and making shots when I need to.
Do you feel, Xavier, that right now, just based on, for a long time, the narrative was like Winnipeg needs home court advantage, right? It felt almost like the Sea Bears were invincible at home. Now that you've lost 2, is there a sense, and I'm not trying to draw a silver lining, but is there a sense now that it really doesn't matter where we play, we just have to play, right? Whether it's on the road or not. Like, is the urgency to finish top spot where it was before because of home advantage?
Absolutely. I think everybody in the league knows that with the crowds that we get, finishing top spot is something that we're chasing. So these last couple of games are very important. Obviously, we got Vancouver in Vancouver on Sunday, and that game itself is probably the biggest game of the season. And that'll probably be the deciding factor. So we'll come out tomorrow, man, with a different type of urgency, knowing that this is the last home game before the playoffs, and try to make the best of that. And then going into the game on Sunday, man, trying to get a big win on the road against a really good team.
So Xavier, I mean, you're the guy that put this league on the map, when it first started out, and, obviously the MVP trophy is designed in an X because of you. So can't argue that, right? But for you, I mean, after a few years away from the league, now back, what's the biggest difference with the CEBL that you've noticed?
The competition level. And obviously they've added teams since I've been gone. But the level of competition has definitely gotten better. And I feel like it'll constantly get better every year, as long as the league is ran the right way.
Here, we got a viewer question here from our buddy Smirkio. Question for X. How encouraging have you been to Isaiah, talking about Isaiah Osborne, amidst his shooting slump? Just for context for people that are tuning in or haven't seen the last few games, Isaiah Osborne came in kind of, sky high, and in the last little bit he struggled from beyond the arc. Have you talked to him? Maybe what's the conversation when a guy's going through a slump at this point of the season?
Keep shooting. We know what he can do. The fans have seen how he can shoot the ball. So, I mean, conversation is easy for me, man. Just keep shooting. Keep getting to your spots. Keep getting the open ones. Run in transition. Try to get some easy ones. But Zay will be fine, man. He's a good player.
What sealed the deal for you, Xavier, to sign with Winnipeg? Obviously, you have this rich history with Edmonton, right? And you making your return to this league. You had that visit here in Winnipeg, I think in the winter too, which you would think would have scared you off, but thankfully for Seabears fans, it didn't. But what ultimately sealed the deal? Like, what was it about that trip or conversations with you? Like, what ultimately led to you signing with Winnipeg?
I had a great conversation with David, great conversation with Mike, and obviously me and Lex go way back into the NBL days. But for me, it was just like more so the business aspect, not even the basketball on the court, because that'll handle itself. But like I said, me and David had great conversations about what I could do in the community outside of basketball. And then I just wanted something different. Like I wanted a new look. Obviously, the team has never won a game in the playoffs. And I feel like I can come here and really put my stamp on the team and help us get that first playoff win and hopefully a championship.
How has it felt to be back, though? Like in terms of, it's been 5 years. Your name is synonymous with this league. And, I know you played in multiple leagues, but, I'd be hard-pressed to find another one where your name has been, like where it's, I want to say it's on a pedestal, but where you've had so much success and kind of helped really frame the league to where it is today. Does it feel a bit like a homecoming? Like, how has that been? Just kind of, is it almost weird in a sense after being away for so long to be back after everything you accomplished in your first years here?
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, obviously seeing all the refs, Perry, like I'm seeing everybody that I seen my first couple of years. So it is kind of weird. And then seeing all these different coaches that are on different staffs, guys that I played against that are now on coaching staffs. So it's crazy to see how everybody has progressed and where everybody is in their career. And then just having the opportunity to come back, I feel like I couldn't turn that down.
Mike Rainbow's favorite referee, Perry Stolhart.
I'm kind of jumping back here, Xavier, but can you take us through the moment when you signed that first 10-day contract in the NBA with the Clippers and you made your pro or NBA, debut in Brooklyn against the Nets, I believe, and just what that whole experience was like?
Man, it was crazy. Surreal feeling. I had literally just got home for Christmas, and then I got a call from the president. I think it was Christmas Eve. I got a call from the president of the Clippers and asking me did I want a Christmas gift. And I was like, hell yeah, I want a Christmas gift. And he was like, we're going to give you a 10-day. We need you to fly back. I flew back Christmas morning, actually. He was like, you're going to play your first game on the 26th against Brooklyn. So just getting that call, man, and being at home with my family at the time, and then flying back to LA and getting ready for shoot around and seeing all the guys, PG, Marcus Morris at the time, T. Lou, and then just like the way they embraced me, obviously because I had worked for that. So getting that opportunity on Christmas was crazy, and then just getting to play in that first game, man, that's something that I can't even put into words, like the feeling that I had.
What was the biggest learning curve for you at the NBA level, or like the biggest challenge?
Staying patient. Obviously, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to shoot. But you have to play a role in the NBA. And I think I learned that better in the NBA than I would have anywhere else.
What's life on a 10-day contract like? Like, I mean, you signed that deal. It's super exciting. You're getting to make your NBA debut, but it's like before you can even learn everyone's name, potentially like the 10 days are up, right? There's not a lot of not a lot of time to really impress or showcase why they should keep extending you. So like, what's that 10-day, that first one at least like?
I think for me, I was fortunate that I signed a 10-day with the team, with the organization that I was already with. So I already knew everybody. I went through training camp with them, so it wasn't hard for me to learn everybody's name or know how everybody played because I had already went through it. I think it'd be more difficult if I was coming from another team on the 10-day and having to like learn the plays, learn the system, like you said, learn everybody's name. So for me, I was very fortunate to be in the same organization, and I mean, I just took it like it was any other day.
Shout out to your barber who's doing a great job while you're on a podcast. And when I get my haircut, I'm always like super still because I'm afraid that I don't want to mess it up for them. This guy's a true pro. Going back to the NBA thing, when you're on a 10-day, how much more intense are practices for those guys? Because I feel like, as you were saying, right, like you have to be patient. There are guys that are paid, much more, that are probably going to be utilized much more, and you might have a small time frame to really prove yourself in a game. Do practices become more important to kind of prove yourself?
I mean, you don't practice really in the NBA. unless you have a break or you have gaps in between games. So everything is really more so shoot arounds. So it's like it's on everything is on the fly. So we might play tonight and then play again tomorrow and then fly and then play on Sunday. So you got to be really attentive and paying attention to details when it comes to game to game. I'll say shoot around to shoot around, walk through to walk through, because everything goes so fast because you're constantly playing. So might be in Chicago, then you might go to the East Coast. You might play Philly, Brooklyn, Toronto, Boston. So you have to make sure you locked in these little walkthroughs, these shoot arounds, and you're watching a lot of film because you don't really practice as much.
What was your welcome to the NBA moment? Whether it was in a game or leading up to the first game, just what was that like? Okay, I'm in the big leagues now type of moment where it really kind of sunk in.
Welcome to the NBA moment. I'll probably say that first game when I was guarding James Harden. It's like, man,
that's not a fun assignment.
It's really James Harden. Like this is somebody who was averaging, I don't know, 40, 50 points in Houston, triple doubles and everything, and everybody know he's a prolific scorer and all that. So I think that was like really my welcome to the NBA moment.
I brought this comment up from Cam, another true Target Score fan from day one. Good to see you, Cam. He asks, with the Wolverine getting it done right, talking about the haircut. I bring this up because after that first game, Teddy Allen goes to the podium and says that you will only be referred to as he would be Deadpool, you would be Wolverine. Did you know that you were Wolverine before that moment?
He brought it up in the locker room or something. It might have been at practice, and he just kept calling me Logan. He was like, "I'm gonna refer to you as Logan," and I'm like, "What you talking about, bro?" He was like, "I'm Deadpool and you're Wolverine," and I was like, "All right, bro." And then when he said it in the press conference, I was like, "Well, we just gonna run with it then. Since he's been addressed as Deadpool, I'll be addressed as Wolverine for the rest of the night." And then I guess the league caught a wind of it, and they just ran with it too. So that's what it was.
Follow up to that. Did he give you any explanation as to like where that nickname was coming from? Like what? Because I remember when you were on, I think it was our post game show. When you're on the live post game show, you said something along the lines of, when it comes to Batman and Robin, like I don't mind being Robin. And with this, like this is not a Batman Robin. This is like two like tiered superheroes at the same spot. So was there any conversation or explanation as to what influenced or inspired the nickname?
Nobody knows what goes on in Teddy's head, so I don't know where it came from. All I know is he said something about Logan and Wolverine, and then I started calling him Deadpool. I'm like, well, you gonna be Deadpool? Because at first somebody called him Teddy Pool, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. So I just like, you'll be Deadpool, I'll be Wolverine.
Dude, the marketing there though, Ted Pool. All I'm saying, there's something out there for whoever wants to grab it. I think that might be part of our Target Score merch, Ted Pool.
Oh my god.
Well, would you rather be Wolverine or would you rather be Half Moon, like the nickname you had when you played with your uncle Jamario Moon, former Raptor, for those that don't know, back in Albany, I believe it was, right? So would you rather go by a Wolverine or Half Moon?
I think I'm gonna take Wolverine over Half Moon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, hold on, because you brought it up, I gotta find it. Someone brought this up. Where is it, Smirkio? No, where is it? Anyway, I'll find it later because someone was asking about your uncle. So I'm gonna find it while you're talking to the next one. Okay, I'm not a big comic book guy. I honestly only know Deadpool because of A, Ryan Reynolds, and B, the whole Regina, the city that rhymes with fun. But the other cool thing is both of those characters are Canadian. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it's kind of like funny that you pick like the two superheroes that are Canadian superheroes playing in Canada. And then the other thing I looked into, because I had to write a script for a hype video that was made by our buddy Boz, who was here from the Netherlands. And one of the things it said was like in their relationship that Wolverine is kind of like that older brother, that Deadpool is always annoying. And I think there are a lot of people that were curious with you coming in your experience and being a couple years older than Teddy. Do you feel it's like that sometimes? Do you have like Teddy, the younger brother, kind of ribbing you, and then you got to get everybody, hey guys, like we have a job to do. Like how does that relationship work? Are there any ties between that?
Absolutely. I don't know what goes on in Teddy's head. But yeah, that's exactly how that is.
That's awesome.
Well, you're Canadian. Speaking of Canadians with Wolverine and Deadpool, I mean, Xavier, your Canadian knowledge must be through the roof these days. I mean, you played in Edmonton, you played in the NBL before, and now in Winnipeg. I mean, you must go back home to Alabama and put on like Canadian history lessons in front of everyone, I'd imagine.
I mean, I've been to more than a few cities in Canada, so I think my history is pretty good. I ain't gonna say it's that good though.
Okay, I finally found it. Tell X to bring Jamario for game 1. Maybe?
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do.
I just want to, before we get in, we have our target time period, which is our slowest version of rapid fire you'll ever see. But before we get to that, just kind of looking ahead, you have one more game at home, one on the road. I kind of think this is a perfect scenario for where the team is right now. You know, it was kind of an even start throughout the season. I think it was 4-4 before, you know, Winnipeg started creating some separation. The home wins started coming in, but now there's been a couple of home losses and, you know, there's a losing record on the road. How important are these games? You've already made the playoffs. You're fighting for position, but how important are these games just to get your confidence up in either one, win or lose? Because if you do have to play on the road, right, there's no home advantage, but also you kind of want to get that winning feel, I imagine, your last game at home before the playoffs.
100%. Like I said earlier, like both of these games are important. Obviously, the game on Sunday is like for seeding, but we need this game tomorrow, especially because it's at home.
Well, especially against Ottawa, too, because Ottawa is a team that is in the thick. Like, we think the Western Conference is nuts. The Western Conference has already been decided in terms of who's in the playoffs. In the East, the second-place team could get knocked out of the playoffs altogether. So Ottawa's coming in as a very hungry team that is battling, like, in the thick of it with Niagara and Brampton. And is there anybody else I'm missing in that mix? Montreal. So do you feel like this one might actually be the best kind of playoff feel atmosphere for a team that can't afford to lose?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're gonna come in desperation, and I feel like Brampton was on the same thing last game. But yeah, we're expecting them to come in guns firing, so we got to make sure that we're doing what we need to do on both sides of the ball.
Well, Joey, is it time for that slowest rapid fire questioning of all time and the entire universe that you were referring to?
Yeah, I think so. So Xavier, are you ready for target time? We're going to give you the explanation as we get started. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right, target time is the slowest version of rapid fire you will ever experience. Kind of like target score time, there is no clock. Taylor, I will give you the privilege to go first here.
Okay, sounds good. Well, since we were talking about Uncle Jamario a little bit, and since I think he's one of the most underrated dunkers in NBA history, what's your favorite Jamario Moon dunk? Whether you saw it on the driveway, whether you saw it in a pro game, or wherever. What's your favorite Jamario Moon dunk that you've seen?
My favorite one, I think they were playing against Boston. Somebody went up for a layup and he got blocked off the backboard and it hit the front of the rim and he caught it off the rim and dunked and put it back. That's probably got to be my favorite one.
So the Raptors or the Cavs?
Yeah, he was with the Raptors.
Okay, perfect segue. He's played for a few teams: Raptors, Cavs, Hornets, and Heat, I think.
And the Clippers, yeah.
And so, out of all the jerseys he would have worn, which one's your favorite?
I got to say the Raptors, just because that was his first year in the league, and his name was buzzing a lot when he was in Toronto. So I would definitely say the Raptors.
The red one?
The white. I like the white one.
The white one?
Yeah.
The white one's pretty slick too. I remember the red one when it first came out was like, it was awesome because they went from the purple, and it's weird to think now, like, it's funny how nostalgia works. When the purple was dropped, it kind of felt like, oh, finally, like, because they had teased these red jerseys as third jerseys, and then they became the full-time jersey, and it was like huge at the time. And I feel like now everybody wants to go back to the purple, but when those red ones and that white and red one came out, like, those were awesome. Yeah. They were kind of ahead of its time at the time.
Yeah, I like the white ones.
I had a Jamario Moon Raptors t-shirt growing up, and I got rid of it, and that was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my entire life. That thing was so badass. I don't know. I got rid of it. I can't believe I did that. Now
you have the connection to get it signed.
I know.
You got to scour all of Winnipeg's vintage stores and jersey shops.
I blew it. But anyways, my next Target Time question, Xavier. What's something about life in the NBA that would surprise people?
Every flight is private. Like we never really have to touch our bags. Like all our stuff is taken by like bellhop and all this. All we do is get on the plane, get off the plane, go to the room.
How's the food on the plane? They must serve up some pretty
they got
pretty mean dishes on there.
Pretty much whatever you want to eat on the plane.
How tough is it to travel after you've traveled with an NBA team?
Very, very tough because you're flying private. You're never going through the airport. So going back from that is very tough.
Except for Toronto, apparently, because in Toronto you have to go through customs or whatever. So like there's a ton of pictures of like star basketball players in the airport, and they're almost always from Toronto because of that. Because you can't just go on the tarmac, I guess. I don't know, but apparently that's the only place where that happens. Okay. We already asked about dunk, so I'll just get it out of the way now. Uncle Jamario aside, what is your favorite dunk contest dunk of all time?
Ooh, Aaron Gordon. When he jumped over the mascot. I think he should have won the dunk contest.
Is that the one where he's like kind of at like 90 degrees, his legs are straight out, and he like grabs it underneath his leg?
That right there, I feel like he should have won the dunk contest off of that dunk.
Dude, that was Kate. I don't think this is a hot take, but it might be. I think that was the greatest dunk contest of all time from a head-to-head competition.
I agree.
I remember watching that live and thinking, how are they still going? Like every dunk at the time was the coolest dunk I had ever seen. And I feel like that was really the last true dunk contest. And there was a lull between those years, right? Like there was a few years where it's just kind of like, like Dwight Howard doing the Superman, and it was all like costumes and stuff. But like that was the one that kind of went back to like the Vince Carter era of just like, we're going to blow your mind. Yeah. And I felt bad for Zach LaVine because he won the contest. And I think a lot of people thought Aaron Gordon should have won. But like, I wish they could have split it that year. Like that was phenomenal.
Yeah, I honestly feel like they probably should have been like co-dunk champions or something. I don't know. Like, that's how crazy it was to me.
I totally agree with you.
I might be making this up, but didn't Jamario have a sick dunk contest dunk? But he made it with his left hand, but he made it look so easy that like they didn't give him a 50, and he kind of got robbed on that one.
Yeah, he was going to jump from the free throw line, but they said he had to have a pass. So the pass ended up being to his left. He jumped off his left and dunked it with his left. And then, I don't know.
He made it look too easy. Damn. Well, kind of similar to my last question, Xavier, what's something about Winnipeg that has surprised you this summer?
I actually didn't know the city was this big. Like, obviously, when I came in December, like, it was snowing outside, so I didn't really get to explore like that. But I didn't know the city was as big as it is. And I got a great view from my room, so I was like, man, it's crazy.
Were you disappointed when you got here and there wasn't any snow and it was getting warmer? I'm sure you really enjoyed that cold.
I promise you I was not disappointed at all.
You were in Russia, though. You're prepared. You know what life in the winter is all about.
Definitely not prepared in Russia either.
Well, here's the deal. If you find some time in the winter and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to go get my full Canadian experience, my full Canadian basketball experience. The Sea Bears have these cool things at the Forks where they have ice basketball. So like basically you're in skates playing on a hoop at the Forks. I think we need to see Xavier Moon. We hear the term puts him on skates, right? When you cross up a defender. How do you play in skates is what I want to know.
Man, it wouldn't be good, I can tell you that.
Think of the training, though. Think of that for a second. Think of all the new leg muscles you're learning, the balance you're going to get. Like you might level up when you're done. You have no idea.
I've tried to ice skate one time, and I never even got on the ice. Like I just put my foot out there, and I was like, this don't feel right to me. Like I need four wheels. I need those type of skates.
Dude, if you want to get worry about getting on the ice and slipping, you got to try curling, which is another Manitoba massive sport here.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I don't think curling's too big in Alabama. Last time I checked, but
At all.
yeah, probably not. But that's kind of a good segue actually for my next one, Xavier. What's a certain skill that you have that would maybe surprise people, or something that people don't know about that you're also quite good at, aside from basketball, of course?
I'm a great fisherman. I love to fish. That's my thing.
Okay.
Have you fished here?
I have not yet, but I am before I leave.
Oh, good for you. There's a ton, man. I always see people fishing in the Red River, I think for catfish, and then there's a million lakes around here.
That's what I need. I need some catfish.
Okay, I think the river's that, and then there's like a ton of lakes that are, man, and the lakes in Manitoba, like I've lived all over like Canada, and Manitoba lakes are beautiful and clear. I was just at Grand Beach the other day, and I was like, I love this place. Did you ask 2 back-to-back there, Tay? Yeah,
I did. You passed the rock right back to me.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so you talked about your surprises with Winnipeg. You said you've been around Canada. You played here for a few years, dating back to before the pandemic. What is your favorite Canadian city? I'll frame it this way. No basketball. You get a free vacation anywhere in Canada. Where would you want to go?
Halifax.
Why is that?
I love Halifax. I can't tell you why. I just like the way the city looks. It's like an older city, but everything looks so dope. Like I love Halifax.
I was just there for the first time last fall, and I enjoyed it. If you ever got to go to the East Coast though, Prince Edward Island, man, it is like a dream out there. We drove out there. Yeah, dude. That was my first time out there. I was thoroughly impressed. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so now we'll take it another tide here. What is your favorite CEBL city to have an off day in?
An off day in?
Yeah, like no practices. You gotta, you're waiting. You flew in earlier the night before, and you have all the time in the world for a day and night. Where would you want to spend that?
I mean, Vancouver is the only right answer. Yeah,
you're a big coast guy, I see.
Yeah, Vancouver is the only right answer.
I was Montreal, man. Montreal, they got some good food. I don't know, but yeah, Vancouver is hard to beat.
I've only been there once though, so I don't really know much about Montreal.
Fair. Okay, fair. I'm shocked. I thought you were going to say Saskatoon for sure.
Man, no, you did not. No, you did not.
Sorry to all of our Saskatoon fans that might be tuning in. You just created a whole new rivalry. There we go.
Saskatoon's nice. They call it the Paris of the Prairies.
We'll pass on that. We'll pass Saskatoon.
Fair enough. Well, I hate to be that guy, but you did play with Kawhi Leonard. Do you have a most memorable Kawhi Leonard story?
Man, there's so many. He's a man of few words, so it's not a lot of things. He is one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen, though. And I worked out with him a couple times, and he's very detailed. So to me, I understand why he's the player he is, just from watching him work out.
Did you ever shake hands with him? Were you like, oh my God, these are the biggest hands I've ever seen in my entire life?
His hands are crazy. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Oh, we got Dylan, Brandon's finest, chiming in, Taylor. He says Brandon, Manitoba is the Paris of the Prairies.
Why is Dylan on
here? Okay, this isn't actually my question, but I have to ask this because this is a selfish Target Score Time question. You played with Paul George. How excited should people like myself who cheer for the Celtics be after the crushing trade that saw Jaylen Brown get traded for Paul George? Sell me on him.
Like he's a great player. One of the smoothest games I've ever seen. And he does it at 6'9". So I think you should be very excited for that trade. Even though I was shocked. I was just as shocked as you were when it came out.
Thank you.
Okay, Bill Simmons, ask a real question. Come on.
Okay. Listen, we're going to get into the Indiana Pacers jerseys coming up here in just a bit. So, yeah, hold your horses there, Tay. Okay, my last question. This is a two-parter. Out of everywhere you've played, what was your favorite place to play, like in terms of like city? And then where would you like to play that you haven't played so far?
My favorite place that I've played, as far as city, I would definitely say Russia, St. Petersburg. Very nice. Very nice. Just freezing cold, but other than that, it was nice when it was springtime. Where I would like to play in Greece at some point. I've heard nothing but great things about Greece. So yeah, I would definitely say Greece.
From basketball culture and just like beautiful cities, I think that would be unreal.
And food.
Do you have one more, Tay?
No, that was my 5.
That was it?
Yeah, well, I did 2 in a row. You passed the rock back to me, so I did 2 in a row.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes Target Time. That took longer than I thought it would be. Xavier, thank you so much for joining us here today. I know you have another public event coming up, and you squeezed us in your haircut. Again, shout out to your barber. Great job, guy.
Emil, get me right every time, man. Y'all make sure y'all follow him on Instagram. If y'all need a cut, hit my boy up, man. He's going to get you right.
What's the barbershop? Let's give him a plug. Where's he at?
Your apartment.
Sun
Hair
Salon, St. Mary's Road.
Okay, I thought it was just you just show up to my living room. I thought that was going to be the whole deal.
I can do that too.
We pull up to the crib too now.
Sounds good. All right, Xavier, thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck on Friday. We'll see you then. And yeah, I'm sure if hopefully we get you on the show again, but really appreciate making the time you have so far. It's been awesome, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the season here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
All right. Thanks a million. We'll talk to you soon. All right. That was an awesome interview, man. Xavier Moon is like just such almost like an encyclopedia at this point, right? Like the wisdom he's got, the skill that he's got, the things that he's seen, the people he's played with. Like that guy's phenomenal.
Isaiah Osborne did our show while he was still in bed. Trayvon Scott did the show while he was at Thermea. Trying to think who else was in a weird kind of spot.
Oh, we should have asked him that. Where's the weirdest place you've done an interview? Like we actually have like a pretty lounge feel when it comes to our interviews now. We've had, like you say, spa, beds,
getting your haircut,
barber shops in your home. I think there might be a sponsorship opportunity there. Let's bring the lounge in. Where like we can get let's think outside the box. Can we get a spa? Barbershop, maybe we just do our show live from a barbershop. So many opportunities here.
Didn't LeBron and Draymond, didn't they do some kind of barbershop
fair
show or
fair? Okay,
but,
yeah.
But people would rather listen to you and I than LeBron.
Totally. And we've got a lot to cover here. So thanks for everybody that's tuned in here and everybody just tuning in. We had the interview with Xavier Moon. I'm not sure. You could probably rewind live. If not, this will all be on replay. And if you're not already following, of course, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, if you're liking what you're seeing, you could always give us a like and a subscribe. Get in the comments, share it. Everything helps. We appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Let's talk about, though, the games that were that happened just last week. A couple of big losses, Tay. Let's start with the Vancouver game, because I think that one, to me, is the more prominent loss of the two, and I'll explain why. The Vancouver game for me was first off, they're coming off that Montreal game. Expectations were high, and Vancouver was coming in without all of their weapons. I mean, they were short, and what they did in that game was impressive. They kind of exposed Winnipeg a little bit by using their size. Winnipeg's advantage is their depth at guard. It's smaller, but it's faster. And what I thought Vancouver did really well was they snuffed out their transition. They didn't get as many transition opportunities as we're used to seeing. And then Vancouver flipped the script. They were running wild on those guys, and the big guys were they were all over the floor. There are like 6 powerful dunks, like statement dunks, which, and I'm not getting at like, oh, they were entertaining. It's because those lanes were open. Like they were breaking down the defense, finding great opportunities, high percentage opportunities at the rim, and they were throwing it down with authority, meaning they were confident and having fun. Like everything was kind of going their way, despite the fact they were trailing pretty much all game. They didn't take the lead until the fourth quarter, and that was the only lead change of the game, where they ended up losing the Sea Bears, right? But I thought Shamar Givens was unreal. I thought Dom Parolin, who's a rookie, a Canadian, face guarding Xavier at half court. The guy's like 6'9". He's a big. And he was playing physical with everyone. He was playing physical and, grabbing the jersey of Moon, trying to get him off his game. He had an offensive foul called against him that was drawn by Simon Hildebrandt that I think he made the decision before he made that drive that he was going to live with an offensive foul. It was read like a textbook. Simon set up perfectly, hit him right in the middle of the chest with contact that I don't think I've seen that hard in a very long time. It was almost like a running back running through like a defender right at the line. And Simon took it. It was a great defensive play from Hildebrandt, but you can tell they were setting a tone. Like, we are going to play you physical, like get ready for a long night. And I think they just rope-a-doped them, right? They stayed close. They didn't let Winnipeg get too far. And then once they took the lead, they never looked back. But to me, that was a bit of a concerning loss for Winnipeg.
Well, the number of that game, Joey, is 7. 7 points is all that the Sea Bears scored in that fourth quarter. You look at that roster, just the high-powered offense that these guys have. Teddy, Xavier leading the charge, obviously. And when it came down to crunch time, to target time, I mean, they just couldn't buy a bucket. Right. And yet you have to kind of wonder if coming into this game, knowing that Vancouver, was a bit shorthanded, if maybe they kind of were taking them a little lightly. I mean, they shouldn't, because I mean, that's a game that they needed to win, right? Vancouver being where they're at in the standings, that's who they're fighting with right now. But who knows, Joey? Maybe they just saw this roster a bit depleted and kind of said, you know what? I think we're going to be okay, especially after how well the Sea Bears played the game before against Montreal. I think it's kind of like, okay, here we go. Xavier's here. We just kicked Montreal's ass, and we're going to be away again now. And then you go play Vancouver, and they took a big step back. So not the end of the world, but obviously, yeah, that was definitely discouraging for sure if you're a Sea Bears fan.
Oh, sorry, man. I meant to get this one in earlier. We should have asked Xavier if he was rooting for the Bombers tonight. That's where you're going to be. So that would have been a very fitting question. But no, I agree with you. And I think with Vancouver in that game was Winnipeg did themselves a disservice that we've really understood now, because then Vancouver goes and blows a great opportunity in Montreal, right? That really would have put Winnipeg in their rear view. Like, all they would have to do is win that next game and it would be fine. That still is the case. Like, if they win, they're in, or they get the top spot in the West. But Winnipeg also kind of shoots themselves in their foot again, because then they come in, play Brampton. Now the Brampton game I find the national games have been weird, maybe because it's a different setup, even for me as a broadcaster. But there's like a different energy. And I know the calls, we'll have it on the pregame tomorrow. I didn't have time to cut it today, but at the end of the press conference, Mike Rainbow calls out Perry Stolhart by name, the referee. It got personal. They didn't like the foul.
You do not see happen very often. Like, I understand his frustration, but still, even then, at the end of the day, I was kind of like, wow, he's mentioning this guy by name. And like, I respect it. Like, he's trying to make a statement like, hey, like, that's unacceptable and whatever. But I was just kind of taken aback. Like, oh, wow. Like, Mike Rainbow's not messing around here.
Because it carries over from the U Sports season. Right? He's also a referee in U Sports, but they were particularly they were mainly talking about the final call, which I thought was tic-tac. Like, regardless of who was calling it, like, yeah, okay, like, it might have been a foul, but like, the way the game was going at that stage of the game, you have two stars going head to head. Like, there was nothing there that I felt really like altered the shot. And then to give him a 3 to win the game after the way the game was going, it was disappointing, I guess, like, just from a basketball perspective, like, let alone what side it was on. Again, if it were on the Winnipeg side, I think I would have rather have seen, Teddy Allen just straight up beat Sean East, or Sean East just straight up beat Teddy Allen. Like, the two stars of the game were going at it. They were both playing phenomenal. I mean, Sean East set the record for points for the Brampton Honey Badgers with 38. A phenomenal player. It was a good game. But the reason why I don't find this one as concerning as the Vancouver one is they have most of their pieces. Like, yeah, they never had Jameer Nelson Jr. He never showed up. Trenton Flowers is injured. He is an exciting player. I was actually disappointed he wasn't there, because he is one of the more exciting players in this league, like a high flyer, fringe NBA guy, but he's dealing with an injury, so that was unfortunate. But you had guys that were motivated. Brampton's had a tough second half of the season. This is a team that was lucky to be in second at the time, and that win ensured that they stay in second. This is a team that was more driven than Winnipeg, and I think this is the issue with the games, the last two games. Playoffs have been clinched. It's hard to fabricate that. I know Mike Rainbow saying we're treating these games as playoff games. That's incredibly hard to fabricate, right? Like even this podcast, when it's live, there's a different energy, right? When it's recorded, it's not live. Like it's different, right? You can try to fabricate like we're live and we're going with it, but you know it's recorded. You know that in the moment people aren't watching. When you're doing something in the moment, when it's real, it's different. And I think for Brampton, it was real because they are very much in the thick of one of the craziest playoff races we've ever seen in the CEBL. I still think it's concerning that they lost because that was a playoff-like opponent, but that one made a little more sense. I'll let you, if you have anything to say about that game, because I want to go on about how it kind of shapes up the rest of the picture. But
well, speak for yourself, Joey, because whether we're live or recording, I'm always bringing the energy, man. So I don't know what you're talking about, okay? I don't half-ass it when we're just recording like you.
Cousin Taylor,
wow.
Cousin
That's
Taylor bringing the
news.
energy.
That's news to me. Okay, jeez, I missed the memo on that one. I mean, ask Niagara, right? Like last year when they clinched the East super early. I think they had 5 games remaining in the season and they lost them all, if I'm remembering correctly. It's because they really had nothing to play for, right? And obviously the Seabears have things to play for still, so they don't have the same excuse as Niagara. But I mean, it's kind of a similar thing that like once the pressure's not on quite as much and it's not, make or break time, it kind of was for Brampton, I guess. I mean, then yeah, you kind of can slip a little bit. But if you're a Seabears fan, hopefully they learned their lesson from that. And also too, like obviously as great of a player Xavier Moon is, and they're thrilled to have him, like it's a bit of adjustment, like having a guy like that added to this roster, right? And obviously in the long run, it's going to benefit them. But I'm not surprised that they didn't, come out and win three straight games. There is going to be a bit of a learning curve there. So, yeah, I'd say it's a bit concerning that they've dropped 2 games in a row. But at the end of the day, I'd be pretty surprised if they kind of stumble again in their final 2 games to close out the regular season.
Yep. XO204 says size isn't something you can teach, and we're clearly firm with playing a smaller, faster type of ball. How can we combat Vancouver's sheer size and physicality? Well, 2 things, and appreciate you, XO204, being on the pod here. 2 things. Parolin and Karnik have since been out with injury, so they are further, pulled back in terms of the depth that they've had. Mitch Creek might be playing Sunday, and he might be playing in the playoffs. He might not be. We have no idea. Like the Mitch Creek saga has been one of the more interesting storylines of the CBL season with Vancouver, and I don't think Winnipeg cares one way or the other. I think the way you combat it is with rebounding as a team. One thing this team has been, caught with a bunch of times is ball watching, right? They kind of leave it up to Jeremiah Tillman a lot. And Tillman, when you've got 2 or 3 bigs, he still gets those rebounds, but when they can put 2 or 3 guys on him, his rebounds tend to go down. And it's not because of lack of effort, right? It's just, it's too hard. You need to have more collective rebounding. What you don't want to do is give up your transition opportunities, right? Because that's where they've made their bread and butter. They are a team that when they can disrupt the offense, they can create steals and create points the other way. But to do that, you have to get back on defense in transition. I think you have to get Vancouver in their half-court set. If they're running and gunning, it's going to be a tough one. I'm not saying you're going to lose because Winnipeg can run and gun too, but you got to make sure that you're taking care of those bigs and you're slowing those guys down. You give yourself a much better chance. Just to respond to the question, you're putting it back up for people to see about the size and how they could combat it with Vancouver or against Vancouver. But the thing is, for me, the silver lining of this, Tay, is you don't have the pressure anymore of, we're, like home. Because the other thing is, too, is like now you're expected to win at home, right? Like in terms of the way the season's gone. Had they won those 2 games, they would still only have 1 loss. Now you've got 3. Like it's not a guarantee, right? And there was a few years ago, was it 2 years ago, I think, where they had that home stretch where they had like 1 loss at home and like basically lost like every game on the road except for 1 and just crept into the playoffs as a 500 team. This just takes away any naivety, I guess, like, in terms of, we're at home, we have the advantage. You still have to play at your top. And I think, losing to teams that were short numbered or, not as good as you were in terms of what people think or where they project the talent to be. So I think with this one is now you just got to be ready to play wherever it is, right? If it's at home, great, but it's not a guarantee. If it's on the road, great. You got to You have Vancouver as your last test, which is perfect because odds are you're going to be playing Vancouver in that second round to go to the finals, you'd be playing them in the conference final. So I think there is a bit of a silver lining here now of just, hey man, like we just got to play. Like we've already got our playoff spot. We have time to figure this out. You can't overlook Friday either. I think we're looking to Vancouver because of regardless of what happens on Friday, it doesn't really matter. Like it's winning you're in for the Sea Bears. Or Vancouver. So we tend to look past that. But I think Ottawa is a great test. Ottawa is a good defensive team, and they've got some great shot blockers. You look at like Alex Fudge. They've got Javonte Brown, who's been one of the best players in this league, always in the MVP conversation. And Ottawa has a chance to really make some noise in the East. I think the East, although Scarborough has been running away with it, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not crowning Scarborough yet. Like they got to win in the playoffs. They're starting to hit a little adversity, and I think that's going to help them in their playoff run. But generally speaking, it's been pretty easy for Scarborough this year. So this game against Ottawa is big. You're playing another big team, a team that can score from different angles. You've got Javonte Brown, who is, a big, long dude, but plays at the guard, right? He can drive. He can play off the dribble. He can play inside. So I think we can't overlook Friday, but I understand because the Sunday game, it's on national TV. It's the last national game of the year before playoffs. It's this, budding rivalry with Vancouver. And I think everybody has decided that those are the top two teams. So I understand why, but I think, going into Vancouver the way it is a bit of a playoff game because now both teams want that home advantage. And if you lose that game, you got to go back there likely in a couple of weeks. If you win that game, you get a couple of weeks at home, or at least a weekend at home. And then depending on how it works out for the final in the best of three. But in a single elimination game, you can't take anything for granted, including that first round.
Yeah, well, I won't lie. I would love to hit the fast forward button to Sunday because that's going to be probably the most important regular season game in Sea Bears history up to this point, right? But more importantly, though, Xavier Moon, he kind of talked about it. He said, like, no, we're not overlooking Friday. Like, that's a game that we need to win. So, that's kind of good that he's being open and honest and saying, like, no, like, that's maybe it's not as important technically on paper, but like we're treating it like it's still a very important game. Because I'm sure for them, you don't want to go into that massive game against Vancouver having lost 3 straight games either.
Well, 3 straight games, losing 3 straight at home. And this is what I've said time and again, Taylor, like a win isn't as high as it might feel in the moment, and a loss isn't as intense as it feels until it actually ends your playoffs or ends your playoff dreams. The 3, I think the skid is what you're on for, because the one thing that Mike Rainbow has been talking about is, peaking at the right time and making sure they're playing their best basketball in August. And August is 2 days away. And that last game in Vancouver is your last game of the season and that tune up for the playoffs. So, I'm sitting here thinking if you lose 3, that's a little concerning. You can start toying with your mind. You snap it at 2, whatever, man, you're going to lose consecutive games here and there. You're already in the playoffs, but you don't want this kind of phantom issue taking over your brain. At the end of the day, you're still in the playoffs, right? Like whether you have home advantage or you don't, you're in contention and everybody is at even ground in terms of going after a championship. So I think the biggest thing for Friday is just end that losing skid. You don't want to go in there thinking, oh shoot, we got to really win this game in Vancouver. Last thing we want to be is, a 4-game losing skid going into the playoffs, right? And really kind of rattling the confidence. I don't think that Xavier Moon's addition is as, I think people are kind of overthinking it a little bit of just like, oh, is it really disrupted? I kind of anticipated from the start there would be a little bit of a period where they would have to feel each other out. My worry was less with Xavier Moon and everybody he plays with. He's an elite guard. Like we've seen him, man. He's fast. He can shoot. He can pass, but he tends to put the ball where you need to be. But you got to be there. And I think there's been a couple of miscommunications or, I remember there was one particularly in that Brampton game where he just kind of looks at Jeremiah Tillman Jr. because he got hit in the eye and he kind of tried to sell the call as the pass was coming in. He was just like, dude, ball's coming. Don't try to draw the foul. Just get the ball and put it in the basket. So there's things like that. I think when we talk about chemistry, is just guys getting used to playing with him and the expectation that's there. I honestly think 2 games is enough. And I say that because he has been with the team since May or early June. It's not like he hasn't been around the gym and playing with these guys and going through the systems. I think 2 games is more than enough to finalize that chemistry and figure out what everybody's role is going to be and see how this team can click.
And Tyler Penner brought up a great point too about just how badly they've been getting out rebounded, and not to throw Jeremiah Tillman Jr. under the bus because he's been having a great year and done so many great things. But I think he only has 4 rebounds in their past 2 games. And I know he's only playing 20-ish minutes a game or whatever, but like he's their big, right? Like, and Simon Hildebrand, he stepped up big the last game. I think he had 8 boards. So, he's fine doing the dirty work, right? And kind of supplementing that for these guys. But yeah, like this is the time of year where it's like one loose ball, one extra rebound can make the difference from, sticking around in the playoffs or going home. So yeah, I mean, that's a concern for these guys too. I mean, offensively, right? Like you said, bringing in a guy like Xavier, that's going to change things for guys, but to be that badly out rebounded, that comes down to just effort and just wanting it more, right? So you'd kind of hope that heading into this final weekend here that they're going to show a bit more, for lack of a better word or term, give a shitness, right? Because that's kind of what rebounding kind of comes down to most of the time.
Jeez, we are just getting loose with the language across this network.
I'm pulling a Chris Wiggins here. I'm sorry.
Jeez, Louise.
Bringing out the potty mouth. But
yeah, well, you're going to have to explain it to all the children watching, all the example you're setting. But the other thing, too, is we put a lot of emphasis on Teddy and Xavier, which is fair. I mean, they're your biggest guys. They're who the team is built around. But there's other issues too. I mean, Isaiah Osborne has 2 games to shake the rest. He's got the yips right now. Like he just cannot find the twine. And his first, I don't know how many games at home, he couldn't miss. Like, and he's been their closer in target score time. Like even that game that they won at home, he had 0 points. I think that was the 54-point game. And the only 2 points he had was the target score winner. Right. And then I think he had like 14 straight missed threes through 2 games. I think this little break between the Saturday game and this game on Friday is going to be helpful for him.
He's 0 for 9. His last 9 3-point attempts, he's missed all 9 these past 2 games.
Really,
just to put that into perspective. But
yeah, I knew it was a big number. And so for him, I think, getting that stroke back is going to be huge because you don't need him to score 20 a game, but you do need him to get at least, you're hoping for 10 from him, right? If you can get the double digits and just the big threes, it just makes everything so much more honest. It makes life easier for Jeremiah Tillman Jr. If you've got Teddy, Xavier, and Isaiah on the floor, like you cannot collapse into, just on Jeremiah Tillman Jr., which was kind of what Vancouver was able to do. If you got those 3 guys firing, it spreads the floor and you give yourself a lot more space off the dribble, a lot more inside opportunities, but you have to keep the defense honest with the shots. And that's where Isaiah Osborne's been great. Or when he's on. He has been playing great defensively. I don't think I'm concerned with what he's been doing defensively. Like he's still a good player even when he's not scoring, but he does need to up the production to what we saw beforehand. The other one, Jeremiah Tillman Jr. and staying out of foul trouble. There's so many games where he's got 3 early fouls and he's got 4 fouls, early in the third quarter and he can't play, right? Like, and we saw it with Teddy, but that doesn't happen often with Teddy where he's got 4 fouls. So, those are the other parts too. It's like some of the emphasis on those guys for sure, and you expect them to step up, but in order to step up, you need other guys to also step up so that when they're not playing well, then you could put it in the next gear. But you can't expect Teddy and Xavier to be like, we're going to play at 11, every game and just take over every single game. They need a little bit of help. And I think, as much as we've talked about Teddy and Xavier, I think there are more glaring issues. Your point to Simon Hildebrand, he's a chameleon this year. He's, whatever the role they need him to play, he played. He has a 20-point game. He had a 19-point game. Then he had games where he's picking up multiple charges. He's getting rebounds. Like he is a dude, and I hope it sticks like this throughout his career because, he's still at the point of his career where he's defining his role. But I think he's so valuable to whatever team he plays when you have that versatility in your game, right? Like he's not just the 3-point shooter anymore. He's got more physicality. I've been very impressed with Simon Hildebrand this year, even though statistically it doesn't always pop. I thought he's been very sound this year. But the other thing, Trey McGowan's didn't have the best game, but he had sat out 2 games. Now they have to make that decision. Jelani Watson-Gale has not found his rhythm since he got here. And I think Jelani, a big part of that is he's coming the furthest. Like he's coming from, the UK, 7-hour time difference or whatever it is, 6 hours, and trying to figure it out while coming off the plane and playing. So my hope is, if I'm the Sea Bears, is that he has a week now to kind of just get settled, right? You've got a week to get your sleep all figured out. Maybe that's a part of it, but he's not delivering what he did in 2023, which is what I think they did. And to go back to, if I can find the comment quickly enough, to go back to this one from XO204, a big reason why the Sea Bears are small or smaller is because they got Jelani Watson-Gale basically as insurance in case Xavier Moon wasn't cleared to play. But because it all worked out, now you've got depth at guard, and one of those guys got to sit out, right? And DJ Burns is probably not coming out. Another guy who has just excelled his game since Trey Scott left, which has made that Trey Scott.
I was sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no,
but I think we've everyone's kind of overlooked how big of a loss Trayvon Scott was, which is silly because he's been, so consistent and so good and willing to do whatever it takes to win for this team. But I think, everyone is kind of caught up in the hoopla, right, of Jelani Watson-Gale being brought back and Xavier finally being cleared, that in a kind of a crazy way that Trayvon Scott leaving was kind of forgot about to an extent, right, at that time. And obviously the game since, it's been pretty obvious how much they miss him, especially his size and versatility. But yeah, I mean, I think that's been kind of overlooked, just how important Trayvon Scott was to this team.
100%. And I will say that DJ Burns has done a phenomenal job at kind of filling the void. It's not Trey Scott for sure, but like, he also brings intangibles that Trey Scott didn't have either, right? Like every time that guy's on the floor, the energy just goes through the roof. And like all but one scenario did I see, or all but one scenario, he's been positive. There's been one where he was like a little frustrated with the refs and kind of yipping a little bit as he was coming off, but he was coming off, so it wasn't going to be a big deal. But more often than not, his energy's positive. He gets the crowd engaged. He gets his teammates engaged. It doesn't matter what the score is, what time of the game it's at. He's been a real spark plug for that team. And I think that, he's done phenomenal as well, because he was a dude that was barely getting any playing time, getting a couple points a game. Then that first game, he had like whatever it was, 20 points in 16 minutes and really kind of stepped out. And we're talking about back then, is this sustainable? And it has been. He's been pretty consistent, and they really need him because he is the next nearest thing to Jeremiah Tillman Jr. and Simon Hildebrandt in terms of getting those boards, and Trey McGowan's too. Like Trey McGowan's, I anticipate will play the rest of this season. Just to bring it up, Tyler's Stat Guy Ty's comment about JWG. Will Jelani Watson-Gale play any more games the rest of the season? I figure he will. He's on the active roster. They got the 3 games out of the way, so like it's up to them. I just think in the matchups that they'll have, especially with Vancouver, you can't afford to have Trey McGowan's out of the lineup. He is a physical guard. He's got size. He can guard guys bigger than him. Jelani, though, when he's on the floor, has to utilize that speed, man, and has to create some steals at the defensive end. That is what this team is built on. It starts at the back end. It starts on defense, and that's how they create their offense. So if he does want to play, it starts on the defensive end, and he's just got to be a little bit more active there and making sure he's getting in those passing lanes and trying to create steals.
Well, you mentioned Jeremiah Tillman Jr. about 7 players ago, but the foul trouble, but the foul trouble that you spoke
I'm not
of.
done. Let's go through all the roster for the
The
last
water
5
boy.
years.
I thought you were going to go to the water boy next. Holy smokes! How's he been looking lately?
Dylan is not playing.
Is it blue Gatorade or yellow Gatorade? But Jeremiah Tillman Jr., you bring up the foul troubles. When he signed with the Sea Bears before the season started, I had a good chat with him about his history of being in foul trouble, right? It dates back to his days playing high school, his days at Mizzou, playing college ball. And he fully acknowledged to me, he's like, yeah, that's something that I really need to get better at. And sometimes just lose my temper and whatever. And like, we're all human, like no one's perfect. And I totally get that. And, he's a big guy, plays aggressive on defense. Like you're going to take fouls and stuff. But yeah, this deep into the season, you would hope that that's something that he would have cleaned up a little bit. And unfortunately for the Sea Bears, he hasn't. So down the stretch,
a lot of attention's on him.
Oh, definitely, for sure. But like, still though, you can't be picking up 2 or 3 fouls early.
No,
like
totally.
this team needs him. He is their big, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
he's elite, but he has to be on the floor.
Exactly. You're not elite if you're on the bench, right? So yeah, I mean, that's an underrated point to this team as well. Just, making sure Jeremiah Tillman Jr. stays in games and doesn't pick up those early fouls.
Had to bring this up from Dylan. He says, it's electrolyte. You should know this, Cousin Tay.
Even better than Gatorade. Even better.
It is. I actually have a cherry one in the fridge right now because it was 2 for $6. And I actually, at first I was grossed out by electrolyte. I become a huge fan. And I think it's actually more like actual electrolytes than Gatorade. But Cam was asking just why, where is it here? I just want to bring it back up. Yeah. Why why are the buckets not coming like they used to? And I think we touched on that. It's getting used to playing with Xavier. Because if you remember that game with like the 54-point game that everybody was super stoked about, Teddy Allen scored 54 of those points. You know what I mean? Didn't really have to pass the ball around much. They knew where it was going. And in the last game with Brampton, Xavier took matters into his own hands once, everybody else was struggling. And he had, was it 29 points in that last game or 28? I think it was 28 points. But regardless, I think that's the big reason is just building that chemistry. This one too. Teddy's secret stuff, mustard. I don't know. He had a full bottle of French's mustard during the one of the games. I think it was the 54-point game. And I noticed that. And yeah, mustard apparently helps with cramps. I found out from, I think it's Kiera Lyons, the color commentary for the Edmonton Stingers. So I learned something.
I've seen hockey guys with mustard packets.
Same. And I never really knew what it was, like kind of like smelling salts. I'm like, maybe it's just like, but apparently it is for cramps. So if you have cramps, grab your mustard. Or as we call it here on Target Score Winnipeg, Teddy's secret stuff. But yeah, anything else you want to say, Tay, here before we wrap up? I got a haircut in like 20 minutes. That's why I look like a schlub. Had I known we were having barbershop party, I would have just brought the pod to the barbershop. But I'm not. I don't have that Xavier Moon money where I could just have him come in my home and cut my hair for me. So
I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. So it's like really, I and Xavier, we should have totally planned that better. All got it done at the same time. But maybe next time.
Oh, see, here we got. Sorry, people are coming in. Abella
all the mustard experts.
Mustard helps with cramping, high in sodium. I'm a big pickle juice guy. Shout out Smirkio for bringing that one in there. So, hey, this has been Mustard Talk on Target Score Winnipeg. Glad you can all tune in for it. Game is tomorrow, or are we Thursday? I think
it is Thursday.
Yeah, so it's
all
tomorrow.
Day.
Yeah, it is. Oh, sorry, man. You missed most of it. Technically, you didn't miss it. You're here. But don't worry. You can catch the replay. It'll be on right after this is done. And yeah, what's one's here? Sorry. We'll get to these last comments here, Tay, then I'll wrap up. I guess it was during WST. Oh, yeah, WST just taking all of our viewers away. Thanks, Huss. Appreciate it. No, I'm kidding. Always great. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's been a blast. We'll have more live shows here as we move forward. This has been our last. This is crazy, Tate. Our last regular season episode.
Flies by, man.
We have 2 games left.
Flies by.
Tomorrow at 7 in Winnipeg, and then the game on national TV. That one's on CBC TV as well as YouTube, CBC Gem, CBL Plus. 2:30 local time start here for us in Winnipeg, and that is going to be a big one. The winner of that one will be the one that hosts or gets that top spot in the Western Conference. And I don't think we totally explained that. So real quick, they hold the tiebreaker with Vancouver. So if they win, it's outright, and they have the tiebreaker if it's an even record. So if they lose to Ottawa and they beat Vancouver, it would be the same record, but they hold the tiebreaker. And if Vancouver wins, they win outright. So all they have to do is win that game on Sunday, regardless of what happens Friday. So don't stress out if they lose Friday. There's still a chance for them to figure it out as they go forward. So so catch that one tomorrow, 7:00, Sunday, 2:30. Tay, you and I will be back next week. Appreciate you as always, pal. We'll talk to you soon.
Enjoy the long weekend, everyone. Take care.